Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Here I talk about my inner journey, a magical, messy journey that started more than 5 years ago, and I don't know when it's going to end or if it's ever going to end. Today, I want to talk about how I never had compassion for myself before starting my journey and my therapy sessions, and how it was impacting all aspects of my life, shaping my inner world, my inner dialogues, and also the way I carried myself, went through my days, and how I interacted with others. So I had this voice inside my head who was judging me, criticizing me, constantly telling me that I'm bothering everyone and I'm being annoying and I'm doing everything wrong and I'm saying all the wrong things. And I always tried my best to stay quiet and small and talk as little as possible and make sure my existence, my expression, and my voice isn't bothering anyone. I always made sure that I'm invisible unless I'm perfect and polished and everyone is comfortable enough about how much I'm taking up space, expressing or talking. I was carrying too much anxiety and self judgment every second of every day of my life to the point that interactions, relationships, and even just existing was draining. I believe that the only voice that I heard in my inner world was developed to make me keep me safe from my main caregiver, and it was also the only way I was talked to while growing up. It was all I knew. I never received words of anything other than judgment and criticism until my young adulthood years. I clearly remember the first time I heard a warm, compassionate voice in my inner world. 1 year into my therapy, it was on a weekend. I was sitting in the car, watching the road, heading to one of my favorite places to enjoy nature. And as always, I was criticizing myself for the week. The long scrolling on my phone, the talk I had with my daughter that I wasn't proud of, the mess inside the house, and how I didn't check my to-do list for the week. And my inner voice was reminding me once again that I'm a failure, that there is something deeply wrong with me, and no matter how much I try, I'm never truly going to change, accomplish anything, or be good enough to take up space in my own life or in others. I was used to it. I was listening and believing that I was a worthless person trying to enjoy a weekend that I didn't deserve. But something happened. A warm, compassionate voice inside me said, "You couldn't talk to your friend and your sister this week, and you didn't get the quality, the alone time you needed, and you had needs that weren't met. And maybe that's the reason you ended up scrolling a little too much on your phone. And you still can repair the talk you had with your daughter that you're not proud of. And you did all that was in your capacity this week. After all, change happens little by little, and you are good enough to start making progress." Something shifted. I felt safe, seen, and heard, allowed to exist in peace in that moment. The other voice and the ever present anxiety disappeared. And my warm, compassionate inner voice was talking to me the way my therapist did for a year. My therapist held me in a safe space and she offered me love, compassion, and acceptance for all versions of me throughout my life. And little by little, I learned to hold that space for myself, for all the versions and all the experiences from the past, and for anything that I'm going through in the present moment. I learned to hold love and compassion for myself. And when I felt safe, loved, and accepted enough, this beautiful and essential inner voice of self-compassion was born inside me at the age of 30. I really don't know how I lived my life without having compassion for myself for 30 years. I just know that I survived. I believe when it comes to growth, fulfillment, and making progress, being harshly judged and criticized never works. If it could work, it would work on me, but it never did, not once. Compassion, love, and acceptance works every single time. Even a teeny tiny bit of it shifts worlds. To me, the compassion, love, and acceptance I hold for myself is the only light I carry to walk through any path in life. And my wish here is to remind you that a little more love, compassion, and acceptance you hold for yourself can make shifts that years of criticizing never could. I'm really excited that I'm out here telling my story, and I'm really happy that you are listening to my story. Thank you so much for being here.